He is a staple. He is a stalwart with this UCLA offensive line. Joining us on the Bruin Insider Show, Duke Clemens with Nick Koop and Bryan Fenley. Duke, going into the 5th year of camp, I think of your first name, and I think it's emblematic of the role that you have with this team. How so?
Yeah, being my 5th year, playing a lot of football for the UCLA Bruins, I guess I am the veteran of the team, so kind of stepping into that leader role has been big for me this offseason and this past fall camp. And it's just a new challenges I got to face, being the leader, got to be the one setting the example and things like that. So I've been happy with the progress I've made and just excited for the success of this team this year.
What's taking on that leadership role been like? Because you got a number of new guys coming in on the offensive line, guys that have played, but they're new to the system. How has that been, kind of getting them integrated into things and up to speed?
I think the biggest thing, especially when new guys come, it's we already have a pretty good culture, I guess, in place here at UCLA. Coach Kelly's this has been like his 6th year, 5th year, something like that. So he always preaches the same things to the guys every year, and there's never really new leaders that just get thrown at the bit. You know what I mean? It's all voted by the team, and kind of those guys are the guys that are going to lead us. And just this year, stepping into that role has been really fun, I guess, and just kind of putting the team where you want them, in your view as a leader, has been nice.
Beyond you being a leader with this football team, how has your time at UCLA transformed you outside the football field? Here you come in as a freshman. All of these years later, the man you've become, what is that person and how has he transformed in your now 5th year here?
Just being a small town kid from Hawaii, things kind of move differently out there on the islands. More on the vibe side, a little bit slower, but coming to LA, the big city life, I definitely had to grow just being out here by myself, but definitely relied on my teammates, my coaches, being able to have a good relationship with my parents still. That has helped a lot. And I think just being able to do things on my own and as my own man has been the biggest difference, I'd say, being at UCLA for this long.
You said a few weeks ago that this is the hardest fall camp since you've been here. Why?
I think the whole point of every year, you're trying to make things harder for yourself. You're trying to always challenge yourself and improve. And I think this year we definitely did that just by the things we worked on mentally, trying to have a good mindset going into practice and just really focusing on trying to push through the hard times and keeping your mental strength as strong as you can through the hard things, because as we all know, in the game, things are going to be challenging and we got to make sure our mental fortitude is strong.
Duke Clemens joining us on the Bruin Insider Show for Nick Koop. I'm Bryan Fenley. That seems to be a common thing that's been mentioned in chats with the media with players is the uptick in conditioning. Everybody is saying it from a physical standpoint and how that's going to elevate your team this year. What is the most physically enduring, toiling drill that you guys have done just to get your body right, that maybe when you say this is the hardest camp, there is that one example that explicitly shows why?
We do this thing at the end of, it was during fall camp, is at the end of each rack of practices. It was called the Mamba drill. And so Chip Kelly really likes to preach mindset, and the guy who pretty much had the best mindset was Kobe Bryant. So we named this drill after him, which is pretty much at the end of our hardest practice, we go out there and we just run sideline to sideline. And the whole point of that is give it your all on this rep. You know what I mean? Because guys will say, okay, make the time in 18 seconds. You'll run really hard and you'll know, okay, I can make it in 18. So you kind of pull up at the end or something like that. So the whole point of that drill is just give it all and see if you got any more left. So that's that's the hardest one we got.
Why is the offensive line, why are you guys the smartest group on the team?
I would say just this offense, Chip Kelly puts a lot of trust in the offensive line, making corrections and knowing who to block and things like that, especially the center. We got to know who we're protecting or how we're going to protect the quarterback, things like that. And I think it's good this way because it just puts a lot of trust in the players and it keeps everyone accountable. And having a smart O-line, you need that because in games, defenses will do different things to you. And if you're not able to adapt to those things, then you're probably not going to do very well.
the wisdom seen by the offensive line is shown in the fact that, as Coach Kelly mentioned in this first game of the season against Coastal Carolina, 3 different quarterbacks are going to be used. From your perspective as the center, what sort of adjustments do you have to make depending upon who's under center for you on Saturday?
Well, we do a good job at getting reps with everybody throughout practice. So I'm taking snaps from all 3 quarterbacks, under center, shotgun. Just being able to recognize the different voices, I guess, in those loud games can be kind of challenging. But I think the reps we get in practice and, just the reps and being familiar with each other, even not just on the football field but outside of the football field. I would say I'm pretty close with all 3 of those guys. So that kind of helps our relationship. They can tell me what they feel, and I can tell them how I feel. So that's been a plus.
And as a center, it's not just snapping the ball. What all goes into a play pre-snap that you got to take note of so that play can be successful?
So based on the play, we got to identify the front, which is how much D linemen are on the front, and then the direction of the play. So then I got to point the Mike linebacker, and then based off of that, we have our different combinations based on where the D-line is lined up to get to that point linebacker. And then on some pass plays, I got to be looking at the safety, see safety rotation. If it's 3-by-1, maybe they're bringing more pressure from the field, or if it's a boundary pressure team. So there's definitely a lot that goes into it.
And you're the quarterback of the offensive line, right?
Yeah.
You have to direct everybody else beside you.
Yeah, I'm the one that makes the calls for everyone to listen to, I guess. And then the other guys will give me their check calls, like their alerts, like, okay, edge pressure. So to let me know, okay, now I got to move the protection this way maybe, or slide away from it. So we all got to do our part. But, I'd say I'm the one that makes most of the calls.
There are so many great running backs as part of this team this year. When you open up a running lane for one of them, what's the way you want them to compliment you and say thanks so much? What is their way that you feel like that is shown from them to you, and how that's going to be a common thing that we're going to see this season?
The biggest compliment that they can have for me making a good block is scoring a touchdown, for sure. Definitely, because after I make that block, I give all my effort to that. I would love to just watch him run to the end zone, and I can just run straight to the sideline. I don't have to chase after the ball. But yeah, definitely, I trust our running backs a lot this year, and they'll do a lot of great things. And I trust, like, if we do our job, they're definitely going to do their job.
You obviously have a great handle on the offense, but every day you're going against the defense and that defensive front. What have you seen out of those guys throughout fall camp?
That's also another reason why this has been the hardest fall camp, for sure. Just all those good-on-good periods going against Jay, Gary, Keanu. There's some big guys inside, and I love it because that just gets me better. You know what I mean? I think our front seven is probably the best maybe in the country. You know what I mean? So that's just a good motivator. It gets me kind of excited. Like, I have to go against the best guys. I imagine what, like, these other teams are going to bring. Yeah.
And so many of those teammates have, like yourself, Hawaiian ties, and obviously, with the devastation that has happened over in Maui, it definitely is something that resonates with you and so many and all of us in ways in which we can help out. What have you done? What are you doing to combat the suffering and what is happening over there in the islands?
Just talking to my people, I guess. Just talking to my parents, making sure they're okay with the things that's going on. Talking to my other Hawaii teammates, just the communication, being able to talk through what we're feeling, what's going on, and just trying to spread awareness, just like by donations, by helping out, just anything you can do. And I feel like at my platform as like a college athlete, I have a voice to be able to let people that may not know what's going on kind of know that, those people out there, they're struggling, they really need your help.
What does it mean for you to be able to, on college football's biggest stage, represent your community and represent Hawaii? Oh,
it's huge. It's probably the biggest thing that I do. The reason why I'm out here is representing my people and people of Hawaii. In Hawaii, I got a bunch of teammates that were rivals, back in high school. But once we come to the mainland, it's just we're all brothers. We're all in it together. Like, we're the only boys from the islands. We kind of look out for each other. And, it's just really important to represent where you come from and who you are.
So much pride with where you guys come from, and as far as being one in which you motivate each other, you motivate all of us here in the UCLA community.